Sir, I want to ask about some breaking news. Tonight, the Justice Department recently informed Donald Trump's legal team that he is a target of a federal investigation into possibly mishandling classified documents. What's your reaction to the news about your former boss?
Indicting a former president of the United States sends a terrible message to the world. I hope the DOJ thinks better of it and resolves these issues without an indictment.
Sir, I just want to clarify. What you're saying is that if they believe he committed a crime, they should not go forward with an indictment? You just talked before about committing to the rule of law.
Let me be clear that no one's above the law.
Okay.
But with regard to the unique circumstances here, but I would just hope that there would be a way for them to move forward without the dramatic and drastic and divisive step of indicting a former president of the United States.
A dramatic, divisive step of indicting a former president for potentially committing a crime. That's if they've compiled enough evidence on one former president about the crimes he committed. I thought this was the greatest legal system in the history of the world. But apparently, according to Vice President Mike Pence, he would hope that maybe at some point, because he sways a lot when he's trying to lie and avoid questions about whether or not we should look the other way, he basically said, when it comes to Donald Trump and his potential crimes. Because why? Did he say the same thing about Hillary Clinton when they said lock her up? Did he say the same thing about Bill Clinton when they said lock him up? Did they say the same thing about, we just talked about Anthony Fauci when they said lock him up? Maybe about Hunter Biden when they're going through the whole laptop stuff. And Joe Biden, does he ever say from anyone that's his political opponent, I would hope that maybe we'd look the other way when somebody's done some kind of crime, which by the way, we've discovered no crimes from any of my political opponents, but I'll still say let's lock their asses up. Now, when there's like multiple investigations into your president that you served under and didn't talk about any of these potential crimes he was pulling off, now I would hope people would look the other way when it comes to things like this. Yeah, we should actually continue to follow the rule of law, but let's not do it when it comes to rich and powerful people like me and the former president. Why would we do that? Do you know this is America? Do you know what we've always done here? We prosecuted the weakest, the least connected, and the poorest in our country first and foremost, and everyone else that's connected controls our legal system. Why would we change that now? It's worked out great for me. F you guys. That's someone that's running for president of the United States, and he says, here, vote for me, you regular people that I just gave a big middle finger to. Let's see if he can do any better, because Dana Bash actually asked him further about if Trump actually was indicted against Mike Pence's advice, would he actually pardon him? Watch.
Sir, if Donald Trump is convicted of a crime and you're elected president, would you pardon him?
Well, I don't want to speak about hypotheticals. I'm not sure I'm going to be elected president of the United States. But I believe we have a fighting chance. I really believe we do.
And if you are?
And I would hope, again, Dana, you're as persistent as ever. CNN is living up to its reputation.
Did you guys hear an answer there about whether or not he would pardon Donald Trump? Or did you hear him say things like, well, Dana, you're pretty persistent by asking me a question that I've refused to answer. How could you? It's like I'm sitting here with someone who's supposed to be asking me questions while I answer them for an audience of people that I'm begging for a vote from. And also, he's not sure if he'll be elected. I think you just minimized that possibility a little bit more with these lying answers, or I guess evasive answers. And also, he doesn't want to speak at all about hypotheticals when it comes to this particular situation. Those hypotheticals are getting more and more clear. As a matter of fact, Chris Christie had to answer about it too. And again, like I said, he seems to be coming with a bulldozer, trying to be more truthful. And he even pointed out, Chris Christie did just the other day in asking the same question. He even said, yeah, I'm a bit of a hypocrite too. Watch.
If Donald Trump is indicted and you become president, will you pardon him?
Well, I have to tell you the truth. I can't completely answer that until I know what he was charged with and convicted of. Okay, so, but I'm not going to dodge the answer, okay? But I will tell you as a prosecutor, if I believe someone has gotten a full and fair trial in front of a jury of their peers, and especially someone in public life who committed those crimes when they held a public trust, I can't imagine pardoning them.
Man, profiles encouraged from these guys. Again, Mike Pence is looking for the nomination of president, and he doesn't want to answer these simple questions because they're still afraid of Donald Trump. I think they're just hoping maybe the Department of Justice and some kind of prosecutor will catch up to him before they have to cower to Trump again. There's more going on though in this horrific town hall that didn't make Pence look very good. Dana Bash also asked him about his position about filibusters and how he's going to tackle gun violence. Gun violence. I mean, we started the whole show talking about Marge and Lauren Boebert and their evasive nature towards gun violence and what they're going to do. Mike Pence has an answer, and he's very excited to tell you what.
I'm going to quickly go back to something you said about expediting the processing of people who engage in mass shootings. A lot of people who are mass shooters, they go in with the intention to die. So how would the threat of execution be a deterrent?
Well, I follow these stories just as closely as you do. And of course, our years in the White House, we saw one tragedy after another. And I know we hear that and we see evidence oftentimes in the aftermath that they went in without regard to whether they would survive. But I just believe in the deterrent of the law. And I believe perhaps if we made it clear, I mean, think about this. The Parkland shooter is going to spend the rest of his life in jail in Florida. And that's not justice. You don't.
It's not justice. Well, what it is what we look for is revenge. That's human nature. I'm sure if anybody in everyone else's life is taken out like that by some shooter or murderer like that, they're looking for revenge. I probably would too. But we're talking about preventing these things. And the answer, just like Marge off the top, the answer is always, let's kill them afterwards. Then everything's okay. Lives are no longer destroyed. Families are no longer have a hole in their heart for the rest of their lives. That doesn't happen anymore. Let's just get the bad guy and shoot him, which many times first responders on scenes do shoot them or they shoot themselves and it ends anyway. And then we're left going, what a coward. Taking out 30, 40 people and then shooting themselves at the back end of it, because that's what these folks many times do. They know that's the end of it. They don't want to spend the rest of their lives in prison, and then they off themselves in the meantime. So from our leaders, it goes to let's kill them ourselves, and then everything is fine. I'm sure again, if it was their family or if they knew the threat was coming to their family, they would stop it. They'd find a way to stop it. In fact, they already have. How often does this happen to folks? They've put their kids in different schools with different ways and making sure that they're protected in other ways, the way they get to school. Yes, there's a hierarchy in our society for who is worthy of living and who isn't. And you guys are the foot soldiers that are supposed to be there and sacrifice yourselves for their glory. And they're still asking you for your vote.